barely see it.
But it's there.
Oh my god.
I still don't believe it.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's so nice.
Oh, I really want me to keep it, honey.
Do you have the results back from my blood test yesterday?
Let me have a quick little look. So that's good because we think that you're only, early
Yeah, I
in
think
pregnancy.
I
so-
might be 5
so
weeks today.
Yeah, so that's a good number. No
Okay,
problem.
bye.
Have a good weekend.
You
See
too. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, bye.
Oh man. Oops. Okay. I think I'm 5 weeks pregnant today. And with my last pregnancy ending in a miscarriage, I'm just anxious about how things progress. So last time what happened was my HCG levels, or my pregnancy hormone levels, they dropped, but we didn't know because I did a blood test and they never got my results back. And I went for my scan that was scheduled, and at my scan they couldn't find the heartbeat and everything had started to shrink, and they could tell that there'd been a miscarriage that I'd missed with the levels. So anyway, this time around I am getting blood tests done every week, a couple of times a week. So I'm just keeping a track on that.
Hey girlfriend, how you feeling? Where does it hurt? You'll keep me in.
I found out, last night I was in the emergency room and I found out that I've started to miscarry. I was in like severe pain last night, like on the floor in the emergency room. So I thought that it was an ectopic pregnancy, but it's not. But my level of pain is really quite severe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's just gonna be like a heavy period.
Yeah.
He said like being so early there's like no medical intervention.
Right. Yeah.
So just Panadol. And then I'll go see him on Wednesday to talk about where to from here.
I'm sorry, don't apologize. Cheers.
Kombucha.
Kombucha for my boochie.
We've never had to film a video like this, so this is not really planned. We don't really know how to introduce this other than if you don't follow me on Instagram, then you won't have heard our news, which is why we're making this video, just because we want to update you as we share so much of our life. What's gone on recently is going to be a little bit of a journey for us for the next little while to kind of navigate what's happened and figure out next steps. So the update is that on Thursday last week I was 5 weeks pregnant and we found out that we were having a miscarriage. So I was heading to my parents' house for dinner. Dave was with his mum, seeing her. They were catching up and going to see a movie. And as I was driving to my parents' house, I had this pain in my side that was just getting worse and worse and worse. It was so bad. By the time I got to my parents' house, I was just, like, I couldn't stand, I couldn't sit. I was like on my parents' bed, just like riling around in pain. So my parents drove me into the hospital, and by the time I got into the emergency room, like I just collapsed on the floor when I got in there. Not fainted, but just like walking in there was so painful to me. I had a bucket. I was trying not to throw up because the pain was like making me feel so nauseous. And that's when he arrived. And we kind of knew, because we knew that something bad was happening because of the amount of pain I was in. But what makes it harder was we had our first miscarriage last year in October. So just to be back here again.
It's not fun. Yeah, it's like we hadn't known for long that we were pregnant, and so we had really tried not to get our hopes up, having gone through that experience last year. But it's only human, and I think we were a lot more invested than we thought, and so to have this happen out of the blue was just pretty devastating. We got to, once we were finally admitted at A&E and seen by a nurse, the nurse thought that maybe it wasn't an issue with pregnancy, and then actually it was perhaps kidney stones. A lot of the symptoms were...
That's Charlie in the background, sorry, being crazy.
Once we were finally seen at A&E by a nurse, he thought that it may not be an issue with the pregnancy, but might actually be kidney stones, which...
He actually said to me, he was like, why are you so upset? And I said, because I think I'm having a miscarriage. And he was like, I don't think you're having a miscarriage. I think you have kidney stones. And Dave and I looked at each other and we were like, wait, what? Like maybe I'm not having a miscarriage?
And so we waited for a couple more hours, and then we were seen by a doctor who confirmed that Elle's HCG levels had decreased from the day before,
Yeah.
which can be a really early sign that something's not right. They also did a scan and saw that there was no issues with the kidneys, and no evidence of any activity in the fallopian tubes, so ruling out an ectopic pregnancy as well.
When we left the hospital that night, I think we were both just in complete shock. And once I found out that I was pregnant, I actually found out I was pregnant before my period was due, because what we haven't talked about at all on this channel is since our first miscarriage, Dave and I have been trying to get pregnant. Our first pregnancy was a total surprise, and it was an amazing surprise. Once we miscarried, we were like, okay, this would be amazing to start our family. We would love to. So we started trying, and we didn't get pregnant each month. And we were told like it shouldn't be any issue for us because we'd gotten pregnant before, we were both healthy. So we underwent some tests to like check our fertility, and that showed that there might be some issues with Dave, which he was told like what he needed to do just to increase his fertility, like cutting back on coffee, cutting back on alcohol, just being healthy, and also going on like a men's supplement to help fertility, which is like an over-the-counter medication. And he did all those things, and we got pregnant. So I found out, that I was pregnant before my period was due, just because I guess like for anyone who's trying, you know that 2-week wait is a long wait. And I was just curious, like I try not to test before my period because I try not to focus in on it and think about it all the time. But I took a test, and the funny story about that test was I peed on the test and I didn't see the pregnancy line at first. And I came back out and I told Dave, we're not pregnant this month, like again, which was what we had been used to getting. And then later that night, I went to the bathroom again, and this might sound gross, but I was like in the bathroom and I was like, oh, I just felt sad about that test result. And I just wanted to look at the test again, just to like look at it. I don't know. So I got it out of the rubbish bin and I looked at it, and there was definitely another line there. I just had like not given it enough time for the test to actually fully develop. So I came back out and saw Dave and was like, we actually are pregnant. And from that moment that I found out that we were pregnant, from that early test, I made all of the changes that my obstetrician and my dietitian recommended for me personally to follow during pregnancy. Their advice was, because I do a lot of high intensity exercise, was to take that really easy, really light, and also advice around my personal diet. Dave and I, we follow like a long-term keto lifestyle. So we just make low carb choices, have a diet that's focused on veggies and whole foods, and we don't have things like pasta or sugar. But when I was pregnant this time and also last time, I worked with my dietitian to increase my carbohydrate intake. So I'm not strictly keto. So I'm eating many more veggies, and I supplement my diet with like low carb wraps and vegetables that are higher in carbohydrates, like pumpkin and swede, and just have bigger quantities of those things. That's what I did straight away. So I went off a strictly keto diet and started eating low carb but making healthy choices. And as I explained on my Instagram, which I think is really important to put into this video as well, if my pregnancy had progressed this time, and last time, because the pregnancy was longer, I did experience some cravings and some food aversions. I would never not eat something that I was craving just because it wasn't keto or just because it maybe wasn't a healthy food. Like 100% should just eat whatever it is that you can stomach and gets you through your pregnancy, because that's the most important thing. But I am commonly asked about like keto and pregnancy and what my view is of it. And personally, for me personally, I would never stress about being keto during pregnancy. It's really low on my priority list. My priority list is just to have a happy and healthy baby at the end of it. And however we get there, like,
That's right.
that's what I care about.
So we've shed tears over the last few days, and we've just laid low and spent time with each other just to allow ourselves to feel our feelings and to just be with one another. And it's been really special. It sucks that, you know, that's what led us to do that. But it's just what we're living at the moment. We're going to make a plan to move forward, looking forward, reflecting back, but hopeful for a successful pregnancy and a little rainbow baby at the end of all of this. We remain steadfastly hopeful and faithful, like in that kind of belief that we will have a baby, and that's
We've just heard
in our
too
future.
many like positive stories for us to give up hope. Like, we've had so many messages over the past few days of people who have had all kinds of experiences and like have had to go through so much heartbreak, but at the end of it, it works out. And like those messages that people have taken the time to send, I don't know if they know how much those messages have meant to us and how much hope they've given us. Because when we first got the news, I genuinely felt really defeated, like just defeated and sad. But as these days have passed and Dave and I have spent time together, yesterday, for example, we just like went out for lunch together at this restaurant we've never been to before, ordered whatever off the menu, and just spent time together talking and like hanging out. And we were trying to, like, being around people who were just normal, and like a normal situation made us feel more normal ourselves. And it was so nice because we said to each other, like, for a minute we just felt like normal people
yeah.
that weren't going through something really hard and like and difficult. So yeah, it was nice for that, hey?
Yeah. Through all of this, like, it's been at the forefront of my mind that Elle feels in some way responsible for this, and that couldn't be further from the truth. And so if I can just be here reminding her that this was nothing to do with her, this is outside both of our control, then I think that goes some way to helping her pain, because she feels as though my job was done and now her job is the entire next 9 months, which is so untrue. She has no control over anything. The creation of life is the most complex thing in the world. And she needs to know that the loss of something that wasn't meant to be is not her fault.
When Dave walked into the emergency room, the first thing I said to him was that I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
I just felt so bad. And definitely over the past few days, the emotions have moved around from being like sad and feeling shame and feeling guilt. And I know from talking to our doctors that I didn't do anything to cause this. It's just the luck of the draw, and we haven't been lucky.
Yeah.
But we wanted to share this with you because, number one, there could be people out there going through something similar. And number two, we are going to be moving forward from here, like looking at Well, we're just kind of going to be on a bit of a journey ourselves with getting pregnant, but also we're going to be looking into other things as well, just to make sure, like, we're meeting with our specialist this week to talk about next steps and look at everything. And Dave keeps saying to me, like, don't say you had a miscarriage, like, we had a miscarriage, which is really nice. Like, we're very much a team in this, and yeah, united. So that's like what's really nice about it. It's like strengthened our bond and like our marriage, like going through something really hard together. So I'm really thankful for you. And today has probably been like our most normal day. This is the first time I've cried, and like thinking back on it, the other days I have just like been a mess throughout the day, and it is nice to feel like a little bit normal. It doesn't leave you. It never leaves you. You always remember this experience. It'll be with you forever. But we are just trying our best to like do little things to get our normalcy back. Do our shopping. Today will actually be the first day that I'm back at in the kitchen cooking. I just really like cooking's my favorite thing. I just really didn't feel like cooking at all, like the past few days. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And however it is that you're coping with your miscarriage and your loss, there's like no right way or wrong way to go about doing it. You just take as much time or as little time as you need.
Do the things that make you feel good in the now.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.